Hello everybody, back again for another informational video. What I plan on doing is going through all the contract forms and kind of explaining these. So this will be great for sellers who haven't sold in a very long time, as well as first-time buyers or buyers that also haven't sold in a while. So I'm literally going to go through the contract, everything that I get a lot of questions on. I'm going to address those. So I'm going to do a video every week. So this week we are going to talk about closing and possession. So I have been working for Remax for 23 years now, started as an assistant. I've been licensed for 21 years. And when I first got into real estate in Atlanta, it was customary for the seller to retain possession of the property for 3 to 4 days at no charge after closing to move their personal possessions out. And also, I'm going to throw in something else in there. Georgia has always been one of the highest default states on closings not happening, which means you could have a seller move out of their house before closing, and then the closing doesn't happen, and they have to move back in, and that's a big mess. Just because we have a lot of deals just not close here. So lately, there's a whole new group of agents. A lot of agents have retired, and this new group, they're fighting me on possession after closing, and it's very frustrating. I don't know where they think these sellers are going to go, and they're always really worried about damage. So something to keep in mind, when you go out and you find a property that you want to put an offer on, and the owner has owned that property for 10, 20 years, maybe 5 years, and the house is absolutely immaculate, do you really think they are going to trash that property in the 3 days they're moving out? They're not going to do it. They're going to leave the house clean, and that's another thing. If you want them to get out before closing, they're probably not going to leave it as clean as they would if you give them the time to clean the house afterwards. So, and I think a lot of people just don't understand how this works. And usually these sellers are needing to close on another property the same day, meaning they have nowhere to go yet. And of course, you're going to find some vacant properties and find some sellers that are moving somewhere before closing. But on the ones that they aren't, it really just makes things a whole lot better for the seller to give them those days after closing. And if you're a buyer, it's going to help you on the negotiating, because a seller that's going to get that time in the house is going to be more negotiable because you're making everything easier for them. Another thing to keep in mind when you're doing these back-to-back closings, keep them at the same closing attorney's office if you can, because then literally you could have a seller close at 9 a.m. on their old house and close on their new house at 10 a.m. because the money's already there. Otherwise, you've got to wire money from one attorney to another, and so then you need to have like a 3 or 4 hour gap to make sure the wire goes through. So that pretty much covers it for closing and possession. But if anybody has any further questions, I'll be happy to do another video or talk to you individually about how this works with the closing dates and possession.